Yo, mema mo akwa abasronko so e de aba POG Media so mestresses afi na waba dwumadie no so a obe subscribe like dwumadie no share nema afoforo and so ensa and can be kindly click on the notification bell no so send be any news be to platform no so a nso wahunu de airco ene de air ba yemra yensem na yemfa nsem dodo na no enye de embra wa ye bo e de ewra eye auditor eye general asoye AJ ye boy run aso ye na nsɛm bebree ɛna aba beto ya na enche bia na ɛba abɔnten sɛ 10 million Ghana cedis bi wa recover na sɛ wanya from let me say some unearned salaries bi a ɛyɛ de ɛkɔ so na sɛ salaries bi wɔ hɔ nom ahyehyɛ kuntunu asɛ ana nkɔfoɔ bi ɛyɛ de ɛnsa ɛka na kyɛ sɛ ɛnyɛ easy ne nyinaa no wayɛ de wa recover ni nyinaa ma ene ne nsa aka saa salaries yi nyinaa kyɛ sɛ ɛnyɛ easy wabɔ adwuma paa yie and NDC government yi baayɛ ɛna kyɛ sɛ aban anaasɛ aban sesaeɛ no ɛbaayɛ ɛna AJ Auditor General wabɔ ɛyɛ dwuma kron sɛ nti no ɔde nsɛm dodoɔ no ayɛ dɛ ɛto dwa abra a ɛyɛ otwamufoɔ no ɛde nsɛm no ɛne amanebɔ no ɛto dwa yɛnkɔ ne nkɔnkɔ ɛyɛ nsɛm a ɔde to dwa.
And on DSTV channel 279, we're all across the world on 3news.com. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, the Office of the Auditor General has recovered 10 million from individuals, and that's coming up next, who were paid salaries they were not entitled to. That is information. In fact, he said this to the graphic earlier today. Millions, you understand, individuals who were paid these salaries they were not entitled to, remitting the funds into the consolidated fund at the Bank of Ghana. From what we do know, the recoveries made voluntarily by those implicated come and make the ongoing special audit into unearned salaries, a practice that has long drained the public resources. So the Auditor General, Johnson Kwamwa Esiedu, spoke to the Daily Graph earlier today that the funds were recovered within the past 2 months. 2 months as the audit gained momentum. Within 2 months, they've been able to recover 10 million. 10 million cedis from persons who were taking salaries that they were not entitled to or that they do not deserve. And this is it. And this audit is covering between 2023 and April 2025. So far, the audit shows that 53,311 government workers who had officially left the public service remained on the public payroll, resulting in over 150 million cedis paid in unearned salaries. Think about it. 53,311 government workers. They've left the public service, but then their names are still on the payroll. They are receiving salaries. Out of the 53,311 separated staff, 2,446 continued receiving salaries after their exit dates. These unearned salaries, totaling 150.36 million Ghana cedis, are now subject to recovery, with the Auditor General urging the MMDAs to retrieve the funds promptly. So these persons are still receiving salaries because their exit was not communicated to the Controller and Accountant General, so kept paying them money. So the fundamental question is, who was taking the money? Because these people are off the public payroll. That's why anti-corruption crusaders are not very excited about just their recoveries or these people voluntarily returning the money. If you follow the money, follow the paper trail. This is public payroll, so obviously the payment would have followed a particular structure. If you follow the money, we will find who is responsible for doing this, engaging in these acts of corruption to serve us some deterrent, punish them. Well, the Auditor General says they are collaborating with the Ministry of Finance and the CID to investigate and prosecute public officials who authorized and validated these fraudulent payments. And this comes on the back of the President, John Dramani Mahama's indication he gave that there are some special courts going to be set up to deal with the infractions that the Auditor General captures every year in his report. Take a look.
For anti-corruption, I actually said we'll speak with the Chief Justice and see if they can create special courts for prosecuting people who are flagged in the Auditor General's report. And so that is something the Attorney General is pursuing, because every year we see Auditor General's report, it goes before the Public Accounts Commission, they say this person diverted this person misappropriated this and that, and yet no action is taken. And so Ghanaians have been saying, so what's the use of the Auditor General's report? And so we're asking the Chief Justice, can you create special courts which can fast-track action on the Auditor General's report? So people who are determined to be criminally liable after the Public Accounts Committee has sat can be put before those courts so that they are sanctioned to create a deterrent so that other people do not do the same thing that they have done.
President John Dramani Mahama there. But before we go, there's an update we're getting right now. The scores earlier today, scores of students of the Tamale Technical University sustained various degrees of injury after the students clashed with police personnel during a protest against the management of the school over what they describe as neglect, misappropriation, mismanagement of the school's funds, and unjustified fee increment. Now, the students blocked all entry points of the school and also burnt lorry tires at the administration to register their displeasure. And that's what you're seeing on the screen. This is what happened earlier today. And we're going to show you videos of the students who sustained injuries as a result of this protest earlier today. And my colleague, Christopher Marco, was there, captured it all for us on video. And these police personnel will see on campus earlier today. It's Christopher Marco, is our Northern and Savannah Regional correspondent, joining me on the telephone right now. Chris, what's the update to this? What's the situation on campus right now?
Well, I can confirm to you that the situation has been brought under control. The police were able to disperse the crowd. Leadership of the students supported the police in this drive, and as we speak, some level of calm has been restored, but the students are bent on ensuring that management used or channeled their funds or school fees into the purposes for which the monies are being collected.
And how about the injured students? And we're going to put that video on the screen right now. How are they doing, and where were they taken for medical attention, if you do know?
Yes, so they were hit by rubber bullets that were fired by the police who were on campus to restore calm and order. And as we speak, they have all been treated and discharged, even with those who have sustained serious degrees of injuries. They have also been discharged. Fortunately for them, the school has a hospital, and so they were all taken to the school's hospital where they were appropriately taken care of and discharged. So as we speak, they are all in their hostels as of now. But one thing is that, after, like I mentioned, the students have emphasized that they will not take it any longer. School management must ensure that the money every person has taken from them must be accounted for, and they are calling on the education minister to institute a forensic audit on the school.
I see. But how about the campus? Any idea of whether security personnel are still on campus as we speak?
Yes, I saw some of them around 3 p.m. Just moving around the school campus. The students have indicated that they don't want to see any security person on campus because the matter is between the students and the management. All they are asking for is that they want management to tell them what they've been using their school fees for. Apart from that, they have never intended to hold any rioting demonstration. All they have told management they wanted to do was a peaceful demonstration, and exactly what they did today, according to them.
Chris, appreciate you for this. Thank you so much. Christopher Marco is our Northern and Savannah Regional correspondent. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. My name is Alfred Okonse. Have a good night. Back, this is Ghana Tonight. The coalition against Galamsey is saying it is outraged over what it describes as the government's failure to recognize the urgency of the illegal mining crisis. This comes on the back of the president's position about not being too eager. He says he's reluctant to declare a state of emergency. This was in response to a question that journalists asked him when he met the media last week. Let's take a listen to the president first on his position on the calls for him to declare a state of emergency. Let's take a listen to the president now.
Faced from illegal and irresponsible mining is deeply distressing and disappointing. The coalition again reiterates our disappointment with the recent statement of His Excellency the President. These statements seem to support the environmental terrorism. The President's narrative and de facto justification on such a platform will only serve to give oxygen to impunity. This is deeply unfortunate and regrettable. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission is considering a request from the Ghana Water Company Limited for a staggering 280% increase in water tariffs. This is not a request for a tariff increase.
I've been reluctant to implement a state of emergency in the Galamsey fight because we've not exhausted the powers we even have without a state of emergency. We have the opportunity to arrest anybody, to confiscate any such thing. There are laws for forest protection and all that give us enough powers to be able to act. Implementing a state of emergency might sound nice, but it should be the last extreme, the last resort. So for now, let's exercise all the powers we have. And if it becomes necessary for a state of emergency,
Offer me no na yede ebrem no o subscribe like Dwumadie no share na ma afoforo enso ensa in can be kindly click on the notification bell no so send be the any news bia no to platform so I won so well no the echo and the air but POG Media de ye no offer me no enso to aso ema omode insam dodo na yede etu dwa enko na enkonkoti.
Then we'll look at it. It means we have to go to Parliament. The president can't just declare a state of emergency without, going to Parliament, because there's a limit to how long you can maintain that state of emergency.
That's the president there, and these are the issues that he says the progress that underpins his reluctance. Over 1,000 illegal miners arrested, special calls in the offing to speed up prosecution, 440 and over excavators impounded, more than 1,400 water pumps destroyed, 300 chamfam machines seized in recent months, 980 security personnel recruited and deployed to protect water bodies and forest reserves. By the end of the year, additional 1,020 personnel will be added. Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe is joining us. He's the leader the convener of this Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. They addressed the press conference earlier today. Engineer Dr. Ashigbe, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
Great. Now, with all the progress as outlined by the president earlier in the week, last week, does that justify the reluctance that he has to declare a state of emergency that you are asking that it should be done now? All of this progress that he talked about.
Well, the interesting thing is that not only is the Ghana Coalition asking for it, the Catholic Bishops' Conference have also issued a statement, and they are also asking for it. They say, we therefore urge the President and his government to declare without hesitation a state of emergency in most of the affected mining zone and around endangered water bodies. And we completely agree with this. You see, the President talks about the last resort. The last resort is when turbidity that is supposed to be at 5 NTUs is at 32,000 NTUs. Last year, when we started clamoring, at the Sechuehiman water treatment plant, it was 14,000 NTUs that we're talking about. The president talks about other things that have to be done. He talks about 9 forest reserves, but there are over 40 forest reserves that have been impacted so gravely. The president talks about chamfans having been seized. But if you receive chamfans, and currently, when you drive by on the road from Takwa all the way to Obuasi, by the side of the road, Accra to Kumasi, you will see it by the side of the road. Get to Dunkwa. There are people still sitting on the water bodies who are currently, mining in these water bodies. So, His Excellency, you might mean well, but the point about it is that it is by the fruits, it's the outcomes that you would use to determine some of this. And unfortunately, as we speak, Kwenyaku water treatment plant is closed. Bonsa water treatment plant is closed. The Chebi water treatment plant goes in and out. So the issues that are confronting us, we have all of these laws. But your Minister for Interior is still deporting foreigners who are caught up in these issues. You have had situations recently. There is a group that went in on the rampage, burning, the legal miners, the equipment, and all of that. So there are challenges that are confronting us. And just as the coalition has said, and the Catholic Bishops' Conference are also saying, we're not saying declare a state of emergency over any other everywhere else. We are saying declare a state of emergency in particular places. The president talks about the issues about confiscating. If you look at the current law that we have, Act 995, you would confiscate an excavator. But for you to be able to forfeit it, you have to go to court, go through all that long process. Under a state of emergency, these special courts that are being created, they could be given the mandate like we had in the UK, where when you are arrested, within 24 hours, you could be jailed. They could be given a mandate in such a way that once all of these 1,000-something excavators that have been arrested, though we've not gone through the processes of going to court and anything done, under a state of emergency, all of these could be forfeited, sold, and the money is given to NIMOS and the other security forces to be able to act. So we completely agree with the Catholic Bishops' Conference, with everybody else who is clamoring that definitely there are some good actions that are being taken, but there's a lot more that has to be done. And His Excellency needs to realize the fact that a lot of his farmers are losing their farmlands. People are losing their lives. And so we are in a situation that is worse. If you look into
the spokesperson in charge of government communication, or that's a spokesman for the president, minister in charge of government communication, Felix Akuffo, so he re-echoes what the president said, that this state of emergency should be the last resort. I stand the risk of sounding like Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. You want the state of emergency declared now. The president says, well, it's going to be the last resort. It's not off the table, but then maybe in the nearest possible future. But you want it now.
So the reason why we're saying it now is that if you go and look into the Constitution and you look into Article 31(9) A and B, the circumstances which warrant a state of emergency, includes what the Galamsey is currently doing, because these environmental criminals are taking actions that are depriving large communities of potable water, which is essential to life. It also has rendered taking the necessary measures that are required to secure our public safety. Is our public safety not compromised? Is the defense of this country not at risk? Currently, we have all these issues of armed guards. The president talks about 9 forest reserves that have been reclaimed, but you will realize that it's about 45. Go back to Abrewa Ninkrai, as we're talking about. Abrewa Ninkrai is not secured. So all of these plans that the president talks about, yes, plans are afoot. Okay. But he talks about the plans without any timelines. It's the reason why you realize that we ask that, the president should give us milestones and timelines that will serve as guides for continued action and demonstration of the president's commitment. So yes, there are some actions that are being taken, but unfortunately the results that we are seeing is so. Alfred, tell me, 14,000 NTUs and 32,000 NTUs. If you look at that, would you say we have progressed or we have not? That all those chamfans have been seized? Yes, but what is the outcome? We talk about 1,000 or so people being arrested. How many of these people are the kingpins that His Excellency told us about in October last year that are the people who are supposed to be arrested? How is it that the Attorney General has asked Iyoko to deal with some people? How is it that we are not hearing anything about that? We know about Akunta mining. Akunta mining, the directors, they were arrested. Nobody is gone to court yet. We know that Iyoko, the Attorney General, had also talked about Professor Fripo Boateng's, report, and some of these the past government people who are implicated in it. We have not heard anything yet. So it is important that His Excellency carries all of us along. And that's the reason why we're saying that the agency that is required is so critical, And so when you hear Dr. Cadman Mills talks about the fact that we cannot sacrifice our lives for the benefits that we are getting, out of, what Gold Board is doing, it's a fact. We can still coexist. Gold Board should be able to do its things, and we should be able to do mining in a responsible manner. But unfortunately, currently, what we are doing, the irresponsibility is just too much.
Okay. Dr. Kanashibe, appreciate you for this. And so I thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. This conversation, as you do know, is one that will sustain as well in the coming days and getting the divergent views on this. Thank you so much for joining.
You are ha any din some no ABC my message on subscribe like it be share na ma for and so ensa in can be POG Media there yeah no POG Media Ghana be Ghana be koso Ghana be fan into my pay fra na ebe yi ebe koso na ebe fan into my pa idea fra ejina me no umienu modembo any how I be simi akonduct ye ho ene bema Ghana yafa ye into my pa ide efra and some no be there see the foforo be there be brem makram